Okay, so you've heard of Busan, but have you heard of this or this? I'm not gonna lie, Busan was one of my straight up favorites from my recent South Korea trip, and I'm gonna help you plan the perfect South Korea 3-day Busan itinerary. Let's go. Many call Busan South Korea's second city, and it is so much more than that. Now don't get me wrong, Seoul deserves all of the hype. You can go and check out my Seoul video up top, I'll link to it now. But Busan definitely deserves a spot on your South Korea itinerary. First up is going to be Gamcheon Cultural Village. Now this is really one of the most famous sites in Busan. It was getting a bit run down until 2009 when it was transformed into the colourful haven that you see today. And now we've come to the Gamcheon Cultural Village and come to the viewpoint where you can see the whole of the cultural village. It's also a great place to rent a traditional Korean hanbok, which is the traditional Korean dress, and you'll see loads of people walking around in Gamcheon Cultural Village doing exactly that. Next up is going to be having lunch at Choryang Milmyeon. Now this is one of Busan's most traditional dishes. It is a cold noodle soup that comes with a hot broth. It's wheat noodles as well, so it's quite different to the rice noodles that you often get, and they are fantastic. We're going to head to the Songdo Cloud Trails, which is in Songdo Bay. This is completely free to enter, and it's just basically a little observation walking deck.
So we are on the Songdo Yonggungsa suspension bridge, and it's a cool little bridge that just takes you from the mainland over to a little island, and it's also known as the Busan Cloud Bridge because in the morning a lot of the time it's enveloped by a thick layer of cloud. Yeah, that was beautiful. I mean, it was like, it wobbles a tiny bit, but the views were absolutely spectacular. You can see the rugged cliffs underneath your feet, and then the coastline, and then once you curve round you can see the whole city like spread out before you.
Now if you're going to do one thing and one thing only, I would definitely recommend thinking about doing the Busan Air Cruise during your time in Busan. This is a great way not only to orientate yourself in the city, but the views are really wide-ranging. You get to see all across the bay, and you get to peep Gamcheon Cultural Village, different parts of Busan as you're floating over the sea. Now, if I give you one tip for the Busan Air Cruise, the normal ticket is not that expensive, but if you spend a little bit more and you upgrade, you'll not only get to skip the queue, and believe me, the queues can really build up at times, but you also get to go in a glass bottomed car, so you get like literally 360-degree views as you're gliding over the water.
So we are about to get on the cable car. We've got our special ticket, so we hop past the absolutely gigantic queue, and we are gonna whiz across the cable car to the other side of Busan. This is weird. So once you do the cable car, you can come up onto the second floor, and I guess it's like a rooftop park. It's got loads of weird statues and stuff around. I'm much more interested in the beautiful coastline and gorgeous views that you can see from here. I mean, I don't know if you can hear, there's like a gorilla making noises. It's all a bit strange.
Huinnyeoul Cultural Village, which is another cluster of houses, this time set into the cliffs, so down by the water. There are loads of really nice urban trails there, but if I was going to recommend just one thing for your time in Huinnyeoul Cultural Village, is to head to the Huinnyeoul Coastal Tunnel, and that is really where you get those amazing views and that iconic Busan shot. So you can stand in front of the tunnel and you get that iconic Busan skyline behind you framed by the tunnel. It is literal perfection. Haedong Yonggungsa temple. Now parts of this date all the way back to the 14th century. However, most of the buildings that you'll see today are much newer than that. Don't write it off though, because it is a beautiful cliffside temple in a waterside setting. So it's a great destination. It feels, even though it's quite busy, I think just the seaside setting makes it feel a lot more chilled out, a lot more relaxed. I thought that one of the cutest things that you can do to Busan is to go to the Haeundae Blueline Park, and this is just a tiny little aerial tramway that just zips you over coast for about 15 minutes in these cute little cars.
Can I just say how excited I am about this meal? We are going to try blowfish, which some of you are going to be like, is that the fish that's like so poisonous that if it's incorrectly prepared you can die? That, my friends, is absolutely correct. We are going to try blowfish in a fish soup, a traditional Korean fish soup, but you have to be licensed in order to prepare this particular fish in Korea. We are going to a fully licensed place, and this fish soup is supposed to be pretty spectacular. So why am I still talking? Let's go in, and I mean, hopefully it's all fine.
So all of that, I actually was not a massive fan of the broth. I thought it was kind of plain, to be honest. I can see if you have a hangover, which is what they say it's really good for, I can see why you might say that that's a lifesaver, because I did not think it had that much flavour. But I did also have it in teriyaki style, the Fugu teriyaki style, and that slapped. But so I would say the Fugu, was I a massive fan? Not really, but it's just one of those things that it's a unique experience that you can try. And teriyaki style, it was great, but the soup, yeah, I wasn't so much a fan of. If one of the first things that you noticed about Busan is the amazing skyline, and where better to take that in than from the top of one of those sky-rise buildings. And that's exactly what you're going to do at Busan X The Sky. Now this was a real highlight of my days in Busan, because you zip up to the 100th floor and it's like you're 400 meters high, over 400 meters high, and you just get to see the entire city spread out below you. You know, there are ribbons of beaches, the bright turquoise sea. We had great weather when we were up there as well, so it just really, I could see the whole of Busan.
And we are here in X The Sky, which is a super high observatory on the 100th floor with absolutely stunning views out over the city. Now, I think that I'd already got a sense that Busan is a beautiful city. You know, there's loads of skyscrapers, beaches, huge harbour. I mean, it is just in an absolutely beautiful location. But when you come up to the 100th floor, you just get to see the scale of it as well. And actually, I think it reminds me a little bit of Rio de Janeiro, you know, beaches, sea, skyscrapers.
You think that you've had Korean barbecue before? Well, not until you tried this Korean steak grill. These thick, unctuous cuts of steak are grilled right at your table, and honestly, there is not even footage of me eating this, because we devoured, when I say we devoured the cooked steak, we devoured it, because it was cooked to perfection, along with like fat chunks of garlic. Oh, I can't even think about it. But yes, definitely go and try the steak at Korean Steak Grill, because really and truly, I would say it was one of the highlights of my whole time in Korea. Traditionally thought of as a Japanese dish, but Koreans eat it too. In Korean, it's called Saengseon-hoe, and they use local fish. Now, one of the best places to have this in Busan, it being by the water, is called Bangpaijai Hot Jiep. You go to the downstairs fish market, choose your fish, and then you can go take them upstairs to the restaurant, and the chef will prepare them and serve them with loads and loads of banchan, which are the sides, and it's just really great. It's also a place to go and try the live octopus. Now, let me just say it's not live. They kill it just before you eat it, but it is still wriggling. So I'll let you decide if you want to do that. I tried it, and to be honest, mostly tasted like sesame or sesame seeds and the spring onions. It was really flavorful, but I can also understand that a lot of people are just too freaked out to want to try that. It played an important part in the Korean War, and the UN sent troops to help defend South Korea's independence. The UN Memorial Cemetery is actually the only UN cemetery in the world, and it's an emotional and educational tribute to the soldiers that died defending South Korea. Try and time your visit for the flag raising and flag lowering ceremonies, which take place at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. But even if you don't get a chance to visit at those specific times, it's a sobering experience that gives you an insight into the history of this fascinating city. Last but not least, the Diamond Bay Yacht Cruise. Now, I don't know why I didn't film myself at all during this cruise. It's a really great experience. Basically, hop onto a cruise at sunset. You get to float around the bay and you just get really lovely views of the glittering skyline as you float around the bay. It takes about an hour, and it's just a nice, relaxing way to just soak up the gorgeous skyline of Busan. Your Busan itinerary is done and dusted. Are you ready to adventure around Busan? P.S. This is the third in my South Korea video series, so do go and check the others out. I would start with the South Korea itinerary, which basically walks you through exactly how we spent 10 days in South Korea and the places that you shouldn't miss during your time there. I'm Juliana Barnaby from The Discoveries of. Keep discovering, and I'll see you in the next adventure.